Anger of the Dead, which is also known as Age of the Dead. Now, this film actually has a lot of Italian talent, both in front of and behind the camera, although it is an English-spoken movie. And this is a 2015 release, and it's a relatively low-budget film, and as with most low-budget films, they do have to give it some kind of leeway in regards to its production values, but I have to say this one actually looks kind of good. Now, this film is very influenced by the Walking Dead TV show, so much that it takes major cues from that TV show, even down to the actual title sequence here. When you are watching it, you will think you are watching the Evil Dead title sequence. It's so obviously influenced here. The only real difference really is the zombies in this movie are the kind of the faster running type of zombies, rather than the kind of the slow walkers that we have in the Walking Dead. But other than that, this could be taken straight out of that world. Now, the film focuses primarily on a female antagonist, and it really spans the course of a pregnancy. So, right in the beginning of the movie, we find out, this woman finds out she's pregnant, and this is right at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse here, and basically spans the course of that whole kind of pregnancy in the movie. And across the movie, we meet a couple of other characters. She kind of hooks up with some kind of some people and travels with them. And we've also got a separate B storyline involving another guy and his kind of group of people and this guy is basically like a human antagonist, very much in the same mould as the governor, I would say. And basically he's got a kind of another female prisoner who has got some kind of genetic secret which could involve a cure or something like that, although that's really not explained, to be honest with you, and really kind of left a bit of a plot thread dangling into nowhere, to be quite honest, but I'll come on to that. And the story here is really just a tale of these guys wanting to try and find a safe haven. So, what is good and what is bad with this movie? So let's talk about the zombies themselves first of all. I have to say I was fairly impressed with the zombie makeup. Sometimes with zombie films, especially lower budget films, I think they kind of skimp out on the makeup and just have people with ripped clothes and blooded faces. But here they've used prosthetics to kind of give a sense of decay and kind of they make them look kind of scary. Although we do say they focus solely on the faces. There's a couple of instances here where you'll see people with exposed arms and things like that, and there's simply no decay in them whatsoever, so all the makeup is just done on the faces and things like that, so it looks kind of weird when you have an old decrepit face with young arms and things like that. So again, this is probably just the budgetary thing and maybe lack of experience in some of the filmmakers here. But overall, I have to say I kind of like the zombies. They look pretty decent and quite vicious as well. The acting is a bit of a hard one to kind of talk about because this is an English spoken film and clearly this is made by a lot of Italian actors. Some of the lines come across as a little stilted, but I think it's more of the fact that these guys are speaking in English speaking film when clearly obviously their main language is obviously Italian. But it wasn't as bad as it is distracting here. I think it does a passable job of doing acting for a kind of this level of movie. I wouldn't say it was bad acting, just sometimes the line delivery just kind of airs on a little stilted here and there. The main issue here for me is there are some script issues. So first of all, this happens right at the beginning of the film, so it's not really a spoiler. But the main character, this female, basically loses a child, and she seems to kind of get over it really quickly, and is not devastated by it at all. She just basically has a kind of a little moment of being upset about it. But you literally sees her kid getting eaten, and doesn't seem to be that affected by it, which I felt was an odd choice. The other thing here is the B plot, and this is about this guy who is this controlling this some camp where we never really see much of it, and we really don't know this guy's motivations literally at all. I mean, we're told that there's this kind of female prisoner who is got some kind of genetic secret in her, but we're not told any real information about it. So that those kind of plot threads are really left hanging. It would have even been, I would say, more beneficial to completely remove that the female prisoner and just have this guy some kind of asshole who's basically is kind of gone rogue in the zombie apocalypse, because this kind of woman who is this sort of special, it literally goes nowhere. It absolutely goes nowhere. So it felt very like half a plot point that just wasn't, that was kind of just forgotten about. So to me, that was a little bit poor. And these stories sort of run concurrently and kind of dovetail towards the end of the film, where all the characters kind of meet up. But again, it just felt very random. It didn't feel like these had they just happened to run into each other, and that was it. They didn't feel any kind of sense of these things happened because of a reason. It just was like a random encounter. I have to say also, the ending of this film was, without giving anything away, it either sets itself up for a sequel, or it's a bit of a sort of strange twist of fate. I couldn't decide which, depending on where the film goes. And there's kind of a scene straight after the initial credits, and you'll see what I mean. It's kind of like, what a weird way to end this movie. Unless it goes into a sequel. But even then, I was like, I don't know. It's a funny ending for this film. Not a funny ending, but you know what I mean when you see it. But it was a relatively well shot film. I think, like I said, I think the zombie world building was quite good here. We're never really given an explanation of to what's happened. It's some kind of viral outbreak, anything like that, really. But I have to say, I kind of quite like the world that they set up. And there's some good locations and some good set pieces where we see sort of devastated, cars and things like that on the road. So again, it all looks like it should be right out of the Walking Dead TV show. So if you are a fan of that TV show, and you kind of would like to see like an extended episode, really, because that's what it kind of feels like, an extended episode with characters you haven't seen before. Maybe this is what's going on in other part of the world and what have you. It's not as proficiently done as that TV show. Like I said, there are certain plot threads that I feel didn't go anywhere, but it is competently made, and that's that. At least then it kind of makes it enjoyable to watch to a certain degree, and you do look like you're watching a competently made zombie film where it just hasn't been kind of like chucked together, and it makes it for a fun zombie movie if nothing else, even though some things don't quite make sense in my mind. So overall, I'll give this movie a 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.